For most businesses, it's the bottom lines that count, while individuals seek to combine professional with personal success.
And with two seemingly differing motives at work, how do businesses strategize to maximize performance and get the best out of each worker? And just how does an individual worker go about realizing his or her dreams?
Well, to help us understand that and realize our full potential, we have in our studio internationally renowned speaker, trainer and author, Bob Urichuck. Thanks for your time, Bob.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
Okay, you said that people act like people everywhere. So what are the key challenges you think when it comes to building that strong dynamic relationship between two persons?
Well, I think the key thing here is building the rapport. That's the number one thing. And to build rapport, that's all about trust. And once we have the trust, everything performs from there.
But trust is not given to you at first sight. I mean, how do you build it?
Definitely not. This is where, we can get into neuro-linguistic programming and talk about rapport and how it's quickly built. But the key thing is to focus on the other person. You see, in sales, in life, in teams, it's not about you, it's about the other person in front of you. And as soon as you show your interest in the other person, well, then you can involve them. And it's in the involvement through these engagement strategies that you start to build the relationships.
But the dynamics of the workplace has changed dramatically in the last few years. So how does that affect relationships?
Well, when you say relationships, I mean, these are between employees. I mean, one of the key things we have to do, of course, is get the team together so that they know each other. One of the biggest problems and challenges in teams is that teams themselves don't have a clear vision. They don't really know the overall goal. What's the end result, and what are the things we need to do to get there? We're focused too much on today, in a lot of cases, crisis management. And the same applies to personal goals. Do we know where we want to be in 3 to 5 years? One of the questions I ask people around the world, which can kind of sum this up, is why do you go to work? What answer do you think I get?
To make money.
To make money, exactly. But you see, when I say to people, that's never the truth. The first answer is never the truth. So what we have to do is apply these questioning techniques. This one, for example, I call it the rule of 3+. Question the answer, question the answer, question the answer. Make money to do what? Have a certain lifestyle. That lifestyle is. Boils down to the real reason you go to work is because you have a dream. And that's the underlying factor of motivation. It's internal, it's everlasting. How much time do we spend in the workplace finding out people's individual dreams?
So when you say when teams don't have a vision, does that mean a leader then is very important, and is that still the case?
Well, I think the leader's important, but the leader has to work with the team to draw out the vision of where they want to go. And I'm not just talking 3 months, 6 months, I'm talking long term. Because that's the key thing here is, do we know where we want to be in 3 years or 5 years? It's back to your personal goals. The thing is work is nothing but a stepping stone to helping us get where we want to go. Do we know where we want to go? Do you know where you want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Oh, good for you. Most people, the majority, don't really know. Oh, you're just nodding. That's okay.
In any case, well, you said dreams, but a lot of us, we have dreams, but sometimes we are too afraid to make that move to pursue it. I understand at age 22, you already knew where you wanted to be, but you didn't take that plunge until you were 30.
That's right. What happened was I called into work sick. I was sick of the way my life was going. And so what I did is I sat down at my desk, and this is discipline number 5 out of the book Online for Life. And what I did is I wrote out all my dreams on paper, and I pretended nothing was impossible, no barriers, no limitations. I gave myself 24 hours. And the funny thing is I wrote everything down. If it wasn't written, it would never happen. I lost that book after 6 months. 18 years later, I moved into our new house, found it, went through it all. Hey, been there, done that. Haven't done this yet, but it's still part of my plan. But the thing was, at age 30, I had a major business failure. And that changed my life, and then it took me a bit of time to refocus and get back in line. But eventually, I succeeded at making my dream a reality. And that's what that's all about, is how can I help others, as opposed to me taking 30 years to getting where I want. I put all my knowledge together in a very simple book that's interactive. You write out your answers, you find your dreams, you go inside and get to know yourself better, and then pursue them.
So would you advise people to do that, to come up with a list of what their dreams are?
Most definitely. The way I've set it up, it's 12 disciplines, and basically you got to follow the process. It's a step-by-step approach, so you get to know what your rights are, make a decision, take control of your life, get to know who you are, what do you want out of life, and then we take through the whole process of shimming it down so that you actually take action steps towards getting where you want to go.
Well, let's take your life as an example. Perhaps you can give us examples of how you went about doing it.
Well, let's put it this way. First thing I did is I realized I lost the first 20 years of my life. I was born in a small family business. I had a bad acne problem when I was a teenager, and I hid from society. My beliefs changed about myself. And then I realized, how can I catch up? Well, right off the bat, I thought I can think about it, but most people think about things too much. Because when you think about it, fear sets in. With fear comes indecision. With indecision comes procrastination, and paralysis follows, and we don't do a thing. And you think of it, when we were young, we had courage. But today, where's that courage gone? So at 22, I gave myself permission to have 10 learning opportunities a day. In other words, I gave myself permission to fail. You have to fail often to succeed once. You can't be a success just like that. So by giving myself permission to fail, rather than beating myself up every day, I tap myself on the shoulder as soon as I got a lesson learned. And I would thank myself for having the courage for doing what I did.
Self-affirmation.
Exactly. Because what we do is we beat ourselves up, and that lowers our self-esteem or self-confidence. Whereas if we take a risk, which is good behavior, it should be recognized. You see, any behavior that gets recognized or rewarded gets repeated. The problem in the workplace is, what do? We recognize inappropriate behaviors. People come in late, we recognize that. We reinforce the negative, the inappropriate. There's an article on my webpage. If you go to the webpage, bobu.com, under resources, there's an article there about motivating factors in the workplace. And it all talks about the motivating factors, the number one being recognition and praise. Why aren't we working in an environment where we get recognition and praise all day?
That's right. I mean, people just want appreciation.
They remember the bad, they don't remember the good.
But let's take a look at the background. Let's keep backing up, questioning the answer, questioning the answer. What do we do to ourselves all day? Do we praise ourselves or do we criticize ourselves?
Criticizing is easier.
So if we criticize ourselves, we can only give to others what we have inside to give. So if I'm criticizing myself all day, it's only natural I'm going to criticize you. So again, we have to reverse that. What are we doing well during the day? How do we give yourself a tap on the shoulder? And always end it like this so it doesn't get to our head. You know, it has to get a big head.
Right, that is important actually.
Exactly. But if we can fix the inside, well then we could give it to the outside. But it all starts with us, or the individual.
Now you've traveled all over the world and you've worked with different organizations, different parts of the world. Do you find that work ethics in the Western world is different from the Eastern world?
Well, one of the things I do find here is people work extremely hard. Long hours, they go the extra mile. And they also, what I find interesting here in Asia particularly, they have a bigger thirst for learning than anywhere that I've experienced. And the way I experience that is, anybody who attends my programs anywhere in the world are entitled to free email coaching. They get a reply from me personally within 24 hours. All they got to do is send an email, bob@bobu.com, and I reply. I get more inquiries, and I do more coaching in Asia. And next would be the Middle East, and then lastly, America.
And why do you think so?
Well, I think part of it is you're into more of a learning culture here. Do you know what I mean? It used to be a time where you were just told what to do, and if you take a look at the culture the way it was, and people are getting more of a thirst to progress. Now, at the same time, one of the things I find here is people think success is all about money, right? And it's not about money. And I could tell you from my own experiences, every business I've gotten into to make money, I've lost money. It's when you find your passion and you live your passion, you do it extremely well, and the money comes.
And success doesn't really mean money, because money does not give you happiness.
That's
success means happiness.
And that's the biggest problem. We compare ourselves to others as opposed to looking back at all the things we've accomplished in life. And that's what gives us our confidence, is realizing what the things we've done and how successful we already are.
Well, very quickly moving on, the ABC 1, 2, 3 sales results book that you put out there. What are the key messages?
Well, the book, Up Your Bottom Line, goes back to about 10 years ago when I was working in the corporate world. My boss came up to me and said, Bob, we got a year, we got to come up with a sales training program. We got lots of budget. So I went and sat in on over 40 of the world's top sales training programs. I took the best ideas together, and then knowing where I was going to go, using my job as a stepping stone to helping me, I still gave them what they wanted, but I also got what I wanted. So I did as a best practice, and I put it together in a very simple approach, ABC 1, 2, 3. The A is the foundation of success, attitude. Attitude towards yourself, attitude towards your organization, attitude towards the market. B is behavior. Behavior towards yourself, behavior towards your organizational goals, and behavior towards the market. Then the C is a selling system. It's a competency. It's how to quickly build rapport so you get the trust. And what I do here is I teach the opposite of selling. The opposite of selling is?
Communication.
Buying. How many people prefer to buy than be sold? The opposite of telling is? Asking. The opposite of talking is listening. So what I teach is the opposite so that people actually buy versus you selling them.
So basically you're putting yourself in their shoes.
Definitely. Oh, it's most important because it's all about them. You could be the most important person in the world, but when you have a client or a teammate in front of you, they're the most important person, so you have to put yourself in their shoes. Absolutely right, Suzanne.
Lots of tips from you. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Appreciate the time.
We have been speaking to internationally renowned speaker, trainer, and author Bob Urichuck.